Pre-built keyboards are just getting so good. Hey guys, it's Mega, and today we have a keyboard that I've been dying to review ever since it released. Why is it such an exciting board until now? Let's talk about it. But first, a bit of a disclaimer. Epomaker sent out this board for an honest and unbiased review. So, let's get on it. First off, let's unbox the board and see what's inside. Once you open it, you have the board, the manual, a braided cable, switch combo tool, and some extra accent keycaps. So first impressions on the board. Out of the box, the board has a good heft to it. Epomaker put it at 0.8 kilograms, which is pretty good for a board this size and material. But to be honest, it almost fooled me. Gotcha! Because when I first saw this board, I thought it was an aluminum keyboard, but it's ABS plastic. But the top case has a really nice texture to it, and the corner chamfers are just the icing on the cake. It makes it easier to handle and pick up with a hand or two. Speaking of bezels, look at how thick that forehead and chin are.
That's a thick-ass board!
I guess it has something to do with the screws under the board or the gasket to install the plate. But don't get me wrong, I kinda like it. It helps you feel out more of that texture
Yeah, boy.
they put on the top case. Another design feature I really have to mention is the way you can store the 2.4 GHz dongle. The board doesn't have too much when it comes to branding, but can be mistaken as that. I like when things are multi-purpose. It just shows that thought was really put into the board. The board is a 70%. At the time of release, this layout only had a few boards coming out, in the premium market that is, and all on group buy. But Epomaker saw this as an opportunity to bring this layout to the masses. It's called as the F-Rolless TKL or FRL TKL, which gave it this allure of a different level of functionality. Not to mention it being compatible with your standard keycaps, so compatibility is not an issue. Speaking of the keycaps, the unit I got had PBT keycaps which kinda looked like they were ASA profile keycaps from ACO. But hey, I'm not complaining. They look and feel pretty nice. And it matches the board really well. The two-tone black and gray with the option of having yellow accents for it too. That's a sheesh from me.
Sheesh!
Then we get to the fun side of the board. The first one is the knob, which is basically a connectivity dial. I've seen it first in the RKH81. Kinda functions like one of those old washing machines. But kidding aside, as a connectivity knob, it makes it really easy to switch between devices. The board does boast that you can connect up to 3 devices simultaneously, but is a bit questionable because it disconnects from one device and connects to the other. They may have meant that it can pair to 3 devices but not really connect to them simultaneously. That's why when you switch to different devices using the knob, it does this sort of reset cycle. The other fun part of the board is the LCD. I talked about it in the RT100 review, which you can find up there. It's mostly the same, but the LCD is on the board and is integrated on the keyboard. It's a great use of space on the keyboard, and it's also quite functional as it shows time, date, the mode of connection, and of course the battery percentage of the board, among others. As for changing the display, it's also as simple as the RT100, but better. Since it is already integrated into the board, the communication between the screen and the board's controller is straight out. So let's get into the board and check the inside. Opening the board is only held by 8 screws and 2 latches on each side. And inside you can see the 3000 mAh battery, which is enclosed in the super thick silicone dampener. Here we see the slip-on gasket mounting on the plate, which uses some thick silicone socks.
That's a thick-ass board!
That just mount to the bottom of the case. Underneath the keycaps are Epomaker's own bluebird switch, which is, in the eternal words of Hippiotech, sounds like heaven? That's my impression of him. Let me know in the comments below if you want a review of these switches. While we're under here, the plate is a PC plate with flex cuts. And on the PCB, you see Perky RGB also has 5-pin compatibility and has south-facing switches, so you don't have to worry about that keycap interference. And the pre-installed PE foam. In addition, the stabilizers are already pre-lubed and they sound pretty good, as no modding is required. So let's put the board together and hear how it sounds. In conclusion, the Epomaker Shadow-X is a great entry-level board that punches way above its class. The board looks really clean and well thought out. The color combinations that you can get the board in is surely for everyone. With features that you can have on the board already, it has great potential. But they just have a few things they cut corners on. At this point, I'm just nitpicking, but I think the knob not being programmable is just a lost opportunity. It would have been cool to be able to program it to whatever you want and needed it for, instead of just a mode switch. They could have put this somewhere on the top or on the side, literally anywhere around the board. Personally, I would have even preferred another switch instead of the mode dial. As for the screen, it's really good, really smooth, and it's positioned like it's meant to be there. Wireless connectivity is great and I found no issues with it, and the battery lasts pretty long, even with an LCD and RGB on. I just wish it was actually connected to 3 devices at the same time, not disconnecting from one and connecting to the other. Overall, the board is a great take on the 70% layout. From the keycaps, the switch options, and the colorways they offer, it's a great deal for a quality keyboard that sounds great and is usable out of the box. And they're always going on sale, so check their site out, links will be in the description. Anyway, if you made it to this point, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.